auctioned to veal operations or auctioned to build beef herds and killed at 1 or 2 years of age. In all these cases, parts of their bodies will end up at rendering plants mixed with the offal, is that how you pronounce that? Offal. And unusable body parts of fish, pigs, poultry, roadkill, laboratory animals, and euthanized dogs, cats, horses, and other animals, and then cooked, ground up, and added to corn, wheat, soybean, and other grains to feed back to the cows. And cows have thus been routinely forced to eat other cows and quite possibly the flesh and organs of their own young in their enriched feed. The only reason that this may now be stopping is the outbreak of mad cow disease as direct result of such mad agriculture practices. Although the FDA's ban on feeding the flesh of ruminants to ruminants has reduced the likelihood of cows eating other cows, they are still fed to pigs, chickens, turkeys, fish, dogs, and other animals. And I read that and I was like, this is bizarre and outrageous cruelty.
It is, exactly, but it's standard procedure, and there's no rules against it because it is standard procedure. So as I point out in the World Peace Diet, the history of animal agriculture really is the history of a wealthy elite that is organized around herding animals. And they, starting 10,000 years ago in the Middle East, and it's spread ever since, it basically created a system of war and slavery of humans and animals. And it has been spreading throughout the world, and we're born into it today. And so the good news, again, is that as individuals, we can make an effort to understand these ideas and make an effort to move our lives into alignment with our values. And I don't think anyone's values is in alignment with the kind of violence and abuse of animals, and especially of the female animals and the mothers and their babies, and the terrible pain and agony that they endure. I mean, I lived in an RV traveling around the United States for 17 years, and sometimes we would park near dairy operations, and I remember hearing 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of the night, hearing these cows bellowing, and it's almost like they were screaming because their babies had been stolen.
Yes.
Their milk is stolen, their purposes are stolen, their lives are stolen, everything is stolen. And why are we eating it? Why are we drinking milk? I mean, if anyone wants to know whether they should be drinking milk or eating cheese and other dairy products, there's one good way to tell. Just go back home, look in the mirror, and if you see a little calf looking at you in the mirror, then go ahead and have some cow's milk. But if you don't see a calf in the mirror, then you're not designed to be eating any kind of dairy product. And the cruelty and toxins that concentrate in these foods make them really unsuitable for us.
Yeah, that's the toxins in the milk. That's one of the things I wanted to touch on. Reading from the book, as discussed earlier, ingested chemicals, pesticides, fungicides, fertilizers, and heavy metals accumulate in the body tissues of these cows, especially in the fatty tissues and organs. Dairy cows thus concentrate not only the toxins that are sprayed on the grains and the hay that they eat, but also more concentrated toxins that have accumulated in the rendered body parts of the animals that they are forced to eat as well. I'm shocked.
Well, the other thing is that cows are eating a lot of fish meal, and fish is especially today with all the heavy metals and PCBs and dioxin and nuclear radiation, as well as the pesticide, herbicide, and fungicide residues and the chemical fertilizer runoff. Fish flesh is extremely toxic, and it's concentrated in the flesh of these cows and in the dairy products as well. So there's so many levels of toxicity in animal foods, and especially in dairy products. Besides these external toxins, there's also the naturally occurring toxins like casein, which is the main primary protein in milk. We don't have renin like little calves have, which is the enzyme that breaks down casein. So like myself, I had an appendicitis. People have tonsillitis. People have liver, all kinds of autoimmune diseases. Little kids growing up with their runny noses and sore throats and earaches and all these other, acne. This is all casein, basically. It's pretty well understood that casein is a molecule that we have a hard time dealing with because we're not little calves. There's also IGF-1 growth hormone, which causes cancers to grow very quickly, and estrogen, which we shouldn't be having estrogen running around in our bodies. Right. And it actually causes girls to have menstruation at a much earlier age than they normally should. And we saw that at the end of World War II, when the age of first menstruation in girls in Japan went from 17 to 12 in just one generation with the introduction of dairy products. And think of all the problems that causes. When you have kids only 10, 11, 12 years old, their bodies becoming now capable of sexually reproducing, but their minds are still young. This causes all kinds of problems with abortion. I mean, all these terrible ethical, cultural dilemmas and disease and breast and prostate cancer and colon cancer that come as well later on. So I think the thing to understand is that we have to take responsibility really for our own awareness and for our own health and act with love, and we won't be penalized. It's just like Jesus said, like all the great teachers have said, to be kind and loving, not just to those who can retaliate, but how do we treat those who are at our mercy, to those who cannot retaliate? And what we see is that even though these animals don't retaliate, they just take it. Our violence towards them retaliates as physical disease, as psychological disease, and as cultural disease, as war, as all these problems that we're having. So we can solve the problems by love and caring, just as the great spiritual teachers have told us. It's a matter of including animals and future generations and ecosystems and hungry people and everyone in the sphere of our kindness and compassion. And when we do that, we connect with Sophia, the sacred feminine, within ourselves. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and it's growing. I can really see it growing every day.
And that's wonderful. It is. I'm thinking of Victoria Moran. Is that her name? That was in the documentary, and that I was so sitting up straight. I was just so anxious to hear her tell that story. She captured me, absolutely captured me, with the story of the cow. The first one got pushed off the chute. Then the second one got pushed off the chute, and the third one had recognized he could hear the screams, smell the blood, and the third cow said, "Wait a minute, I'm not so sure." Kind of held back and, put her hoofs into the steel chute and didn't want to go. And the guy that was at the other end, he whistled to her like a dog, and whistled, and that captured her attention enough to seduce her, if you will, into trusting this individual that he was not going to harm her. And she ended up in the chute as well. And it's hard to talk about without crying, like seriously. But and then they went on to show how her body parts were dispersed, and it's really funny. I have forgotten this for a long time, but when I was 9 years old, by mistake, I got to see a cow hoisted up by its legs, and it's my dad. I was with my dad, and we were picking up some stuff for our grocery store, our family grocery store, and I don't even know that. I think the guy said to me, "Hey, do you want to see something?" Ignorant, just an ignorant fool, dragged me, 9-year-old little girl, in to see this cow being slaughtered. And I really think that is what really, awakened me, if you will. So out of a bad thing came a good thing. And also my sister in upstate New York had to move because she was her home was out in the country, and it was next to a farm, a dairy farm, and she could hear the screams of the baby cows and the mothers at night, and it was horrific. She said it was horrific, and she moved because of it. So this is a very real thing that goes on, and I'm thinking of the woman in the film last night that had the T-shirt that said "God is love," who spoke so eloquently as well. Your film is so very spiritual, and I think that if we all want to have peace on the planet, we really do need to consider all the things that we are discussing here today.
Right. Well, that's the good news. The beautiful thing is that everyone who goes vegan, whenever I ask them about it, when people move to a plant-based diet for ethical reasons, I say, "Is there anything you regret about it?" And they always say, "Yes, I regret I didn't do it earlier in my life. I wish I would have known sooner."
Well, people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And the food is so delicious.
Right.
I mean, and the variety and just having much more energy and not having the burden, the inner burden of knowing that we're causing suffering. And so many times I ask someone, "Would you like to know where your bacon comes from?" And they typically say, "No, don't tell me. I don't want to know."
Yeah.
So we build
like
these
the guy
walls.
on the street in New York who was saving elephants but knew nothing but didn't want to know about the bacon that he was eating and the cruelty and just insane cruelty attached to it, with the baby piglets being taken from their mothers right away. And oh my gosh, we could go on and on, but I'm trying to think of where. Oh, let's talk about this for just a second. Okay, so the one of the largest consumers of animal byproducts are cat and dog food. The
Right.
fifth largest, okay? We
In the
all know,
world.
and this is something I've been fighting for years, is that there's such an overpopulation of animals that you should adopt and not shop. Because I always say, if you don't give a rat's behind about the animals, you should care about the earth, of all of that bacteria going into our earth, and plus all the cruelty attached to it. So if you're a vegan and you want to really, cut the cord as for any animal cruelty, is vegan dog food or cat food, is it good for your cat or dog? Can they sustain on that kind of diet?
Well, yes, and that's really good news, especially for dogs. The research is very compelling that dogs thrive on a healthy organic, it doesn't have to actually be organic, but a healthy plant-based diet. There's quite a few brands that you can buy. There's V-Dog and Evolution and many others. Anyone can look it up on the internet. And there's also recipes where you can make your own. It's quite inexpensive, or feed the dogs food that you're eating, because they're really omnivorous, and there's only a few foods that they shouldn't be eating. You can find out about that too. But some of the healthiest, like the longest lived dog in the history of the world that we know of, died a few years ago in England, a vegan dog who was in her 30s. And typically, dogs do this much better. They have a healthier, more lustrous coat, and their breath is better, and they have more energy. They don't have the terrible problems that dogs have today, and all the cancer. There's just an epidemic of disease.
Well, they're eating what we're eating.
They're eating the worst food. Yeah, they're eating as bad as we're eating, even worse than what we're eating. There's so many toxins that concentrate in these foods, and all animal-based foods, and especially what they give in the pet food is even the worst of the worst in many ways. But it's much better to feed them a plant-based diet, and they'll just be much happier. They'll be much more grateful. There's information online if people want to find out more. You can search for that, and also cats. According to the experts that I've spoken to over the years, 2/3 of cats will thrive on a plant-based diet. And I have friends I have a friend who she's got, I think it's about 8, 4 of each, 4 cats, 4 dogs. They're all vegan. They're all healthy and happy, and have been for like 15 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's something to definitely look into, because as you say, dogs and cats, it's the 5th largest. If dogs and cats in the United States were a nation, as a nation, it would be the 5th largest consumption of meat on planet Earth.
Well,
so
they
overproduce.
They're overproduced,
right.
And they depend on us to take care of them. They're domesticated animals,
Right.
and yet here we go. The people
They're
don't
at our
spay
mercy.
and neuter, and they buy beautiful little foofy dogs when there are animals, beautiful creatures in the shelters all over this country. I encourage everyone out there listening, please adopt, don't shop, and please spay and neuter so we can help get control of that problem as well.
Absolutely.
So such a pleasure. I cannot wait to have you back on the air with me, Dr. Will Tuttle, and you have to get a copy of his book, you guys. It's amazing. The World Peace Diet, Eating for Spiritual Health and Social Harmony. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bernadette. Thank you all for listening. Thank you.
All right, everyone. We'll be back with Daniel Tague. Stay tuned. Wellbeing Journal is a remarkable bi-monthly health publication esteemed by intelligent readers worldwide. It's available in print or digital, single issues or subscription. Its focus is on living a happy, healthy life and preventing or healing illnesses naturally. Preventing or healing cancer, arthritis, cardiovascular conditions, and digestive issues, as well as nutritional solutions for optimal health, are regular subjects. Learn more at wellbeingjournal.com.
Did you know that the U.S. Department of Health actually patented cannabinoids as antioxidants and neuroprotectants? So clearly there is promise for CBD to help with a variety of issues. H-Hemp's U.S.-grown CBD system is fully tested for purity and safety. For daily balance, H-Hemp has the best-tasting CBD tinctures available. Their Super Breath Blast delivers near immediate relief and relaxation while on the go. And the Magic Balm works wonders for your muscles, joints, and temples. Relax and feel better naturally with the H-Hemp CBD system from hemp.com.
Hi, everyone. This is Bernadette. Do you know why I love Paleo Magazine? Paleo Magazine was founded with the purpose of providing readers with the information they need to live strong, vibrant, healthy lives. They are dedicated to partnering with leaders in the paleo community to spread the knowledge of ancestral health principles without the influence of big pharma or big agriculture. Paleo Magazine. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram, or visit them at paleomagonline.com. That's paleomagonline.com. Burn here. I'm so excited about Sun Warrior's new soil-based probiotic. Just like any ecosystem, your digestive system thrives best when it contains a wide variety of microorganisms that can complement and interact with each other. Sun Warrior's probiotics increase native gut flora, restore the gut-brain connection, aid in digestion, support normal bowel function, and support immune function. Shop Sun Warrior Probiotics